This girl literally daps Nathan and said, what did it do? So for this week's Can I Get a Two Snaps? It is going to N Major. She said, never go back to what broke you. Oof, a word, sis. When I tell you, I read this and I was so moved. I'm like, I immediately knew that this was gonna be my two snaps comment. Never go back to what broke you. And I believe that 100%. Yes, in reality, I like the idea of Lawrence and Issa, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's a good idea. Let's get into it. They opened the episode with Issa and Lawrence, so it looks like they decided to continue whatever this is that they're starting, and we love it. They got the music playing. They got Velvet by Kirby playing in the background. Chef's kiss. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. It's good vibes. And last week in the comment section, we were talking about, okay, what about Nathan? Is she gonna drop him just like that? Like, I thought something was about to happen with her and with Issa and Nathan. And guess what? The writers never failed us, and they brought up Nathan this episode. So we learn and discover Lawrence doesn't really know about Nathan, and Issa brings him up to Lawrence because Nathan texted Issa asking, hey, do you want to come over and help me move? And it was kind of weird to me. I'm like, why is this guy texting you? Okay, if a guy is texting you to help him move, no offense, this is not sexist, I'm sorry, but like, a guy is texting a woman to help move boxes and furniture, you know that's a setup. You know what to expect when you show up there. He could have called any of his bros, but he called you. Come on. Come on, sis. You know what you were getting yourself into. I do give props to Issa for telling Lawrence about Nathan, because she could have went her same old route, doing things shady, doing things on the down low, because it's not a big deal, but you have to take into account other people's feelings. So props to you, Issa. Okay, so this part kind of annoyed me when Issa was like, what is this? Like, what are we really doing here? And then Lawrence said, I don't know, what do you want it to be? And I think I really thought they'd grown in their communication, but this was sort of like a setback to me, because I've been in the position where me and another person would be like, oh, what are we doing here? What do you want this to be? And they'd be like, I don't know, what do you want? And I'm just like, we're grown people. Why are we tiptoeing around what it is or what it should be? You know what I mean? Just say what you want. Do you want to be in a relationship or you don't want to be in a relationship? Do you want to be a fuck buddy or do you not want to be a fuck buddy? Like, just keep it like that and keep it moving, keep it pushing. Oh my god. I was gassed though. I was gassed because Lawrence said him and Condola are done. So we know she won't be a problem. So that means Lawrence can't really mess up the situation. And it's likely going to be Issa messing up the situation. And I'll tell you later on, because her and Nathan are going to do something, and I see it, and I see it, I see it, I see it. I don't believe she really wants Lawrence like that. Yep. Yep. I'm so happy that Molly is seeing her therapist, Dr. Rhonda. Can we get a clap? Can we get a clap, please? So I don't know what day it is with her and her therapist, but we could clearly see that Molly believes she still is in the wrong and has no faults, and she believes that Issa should apologize. I think as a collective, we do not agree that Molly is fully right, nor do we agree that Issa is fully right. Both parties are wrong, and we already established this. I keep on saying it, pride, pride, pride. They have too much pride, and yeah. Dr. Rhonda brought up a good point about Molly, and she brought up a good point about me. But she said when someone angers you, you put your walls up and you shut down. And I think Molly's version of shutting down is different from my shutting down, because people have told me when I'm upset I do shut down, but that's because I hold my tongue. I don't want to say anything that will hurt other people and ruin the relationship, so that's why I become quiet and I take a step back from the situation. Molly shut down as like, she becomes defensive and you can't mess with her type of thing. So that's different energy. And I'm happy Dr. Rhonda told that to Molly. I don't think I necessarily agree with Dr. Rhonda's approach on the questions that she asked Molly, because she said one statement and then she said, okay, let me frame it a different way. And I don't think those two statements correlate to each other. And I think you can clearly see in this episode that Molly picked one statement over the other. Dr. Rhonda's first statement was to Molly, she's asking, does the relationship with Issa still serve you? Then she says, given everything that has happened, do you want to do the work of repairing a relationship? That relationship. I think within this episode, we saw more effort on Issa's side than we did Molly. And I think that's clear. And I think her actions and her behavior answered Dr. Rhonda's question. And I think Molly fell along the lines of forgetting about repairing the relationship and just went straight to, does Issa actually serve me? Because no, she does not. We're just shallow towards one another, and that's nothing to me. Issa was the one to make the effort to call Molly and be like, hey, let's meet up and chat. Can I just say? Issa's imaginations, I swear they're real. They get my hopes up. My heart sunk because I'm like, oh shit, Molly's doing the same thing again. And I got angry. I actually got angry. And then there was an imagination and I was like, the show, man. My emotions. But yeah, Issa does contact Molly. And I thought that was a great first step on Issa's part. Issa clearly misses Molly. I don't really understand or know if Molly does. I feel like she really there's an underlining that she does, but right now she just wants an apology from Issa for some reason, when I don't think Issa should be the one giving Molly an apology. Issa tries to start small talk to like warm things up, get the conversation going. Molly was still acting a bit distant, like she was there, but she wasn't really sort of giving anything back. She did eventually, but I feel like she was silent because she was waiting for Issa to start the actual conversation of the incident and their whole drama previously in the last month. What annoyed me a lot was Molly told Andrew, yeah, we talked, we laughed, but we didn't talk about what we were supposed to. And it felt really artificial to me. No, not artificial, sorry, superficial. And I was like, okay, if you felt like the conversation was superficial, why don't you be the bigger person? Why don't you be the real one and say what's on your mind? Speak from your chest. Just get it out there. Like, if it's superficial, you're part of that superficialness, if that makes sense. You're part of the fakeness. So be real. Just be real, Molly. And I thought Molly's excuse was stupid. Oh, it didn't feel like she wanted to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about it. In any situation when there's controversy or there's a problem, nobody wants to talk about it, but guess what? Someone has to talk about it to start it. And I feel like Molly throughout this whole season has been wanting to talk, yet Issa's been avoiding it. But then the minute Issa like shows up and says, hey, let's meet up, let's talk, why don't you bring it up? Why don't you just clear the air and bring it up? So at the end of the episode, there's like a blowout at Andrew's house. They're all around having like a little kick up, like a little lime type thing. And Molly meant to text Andrew, but she ended up texting Issa, and she said something like, oh, see, I'm trying with her, being like, oh, I'm trying to put in the effort with Issa. Aren't I doing a good job? And Issa read that, and she did not like that, and she's like, yo, I'm out of here. And she walked into the house. So they're standing outside of the house, and they're having a sort of conversation, but not really. And Issa said something that I don't think I necessarily agreed with. Issa says she was trying to get them back to where they were. That's what she was trying to do when she called Molly up to meet her at the brunch place. And I get it, but to go from months of not talking to each other and then a big blowout and then a big blow up at an event, you can't just say, oh, let's laugh about old time jokes and slap a band. You're basically slapping a band-aid on an open wound and saying, oh yeah, that's good, we're gonna be fine. No, you're gonna bleed out and you're gonna die. Basically what I'm saying is you can't go back to the way things were without confronting what the problem was. And Molly is right in the sense that, yeah, we're being superficial, we're being fake. They are walking on eggshells around each other. This needs to be they need to have a conversation like Laura and Issa did, with no eggshells. Just say what you want to say, get it off your chest, talk about your true feelings, and then go from there. I want to know, in this situation, in this point of time, who was putting in more effort? Was it Issa? Was it Molly? I think Issa. Let me know what you think. If you disagree with me, I want to hear you out. And then Issa says, I don't want to be the only one trying to make this work. And that just goes right back again to Dr. Rhonda asking Molly, is she willing to put in the work to fix this relationship? And I was honestly devastated to hear Molly say basically that maybe her and Issa are growing apart and maybe they just don't fit for each other anymore. And I thought that was sad. And a lot of you guys were saying, early on in our discussions, you were saying how you guys think that Molly and Issa have outgrown each other. I don't necessarily believe that. I think this is just a problem they have to face. You can clearly see that they can flow with each other just like Lawrence and Issa. It's just that there's a huge elephant in the room that they are not addressing. I don't think this conversation was the conversation they needed to have to fix the problem. This was not the best setting to have the conversation. They need a sit down moment. They need to be on a couch in a restaurant, not saying the first thing that comes to their head, you know, because they're still exploring ideas of what they feel and what they want. I'm just going to close the Issa and Molly part with this. I feel like by Molly stating that maybe we don't fit with each other anymore, she's confirming the question that Dr. Rhonda asked, whether Issa serves her. And I think that's the route she chose to go in instead of trying to repair the relationship. So yeah, I don't know. I'm tired. They're tired of their relationship. I'm tired of the relationship. I'm tired of watching it. And I want there to be an end at this point. I don't know. I don't know why, but previous episodes, Nathan's voice used to be so sexy to me. But this episode, his voice was like, yeah, I'll put you in. Like, it was, I don't know. It wasn't doing it for me. I'm just like, did he sound this way the whole time? I'm like, oh no, sis, this is not it. This is not it. I found it so funny how Issa was just being awkward. Obviously, Issa's awkward. She was making a huge big deal. Like, she really didn't know how to approach Andrew. And I think she knew in the back of her mind that Andrew does have feelings for Issa. And it's clear he makes that really known. And sis, I don't know how you weren't tempted. I feel like you will be in the future because I was. Anyways, but yeah, I think a platonic relationship is accessible. Issa picked the worst entrance. This girl said, my nigga. I was like, oh my god, really? You should have just said konnichiwa and ended it. But yeah, and then when he tried to hug her and then she was like, I was like, no, what are you doing? You're making it so awkward. This girl literally daps Nathan and said, what did it do? I've been in a situation where a guy tried to hug me and I went, yeah, I ended that. My question is, I want to know from you guys, why was Issa acting so weird? I don't think anybody would act weird in this situation if you knew you were strictly friends with somebody. If it was strictly platonic. I think Issa and Nathan had something going on, and it probably was still going on up until that point where she nipped it in the butt. But I think when she went on that date with Lawrence, she still had some ties with Nathan. Because if it was strictly platonic between the two of them, Nathan would be trying to make these subtle hints or passes at Issa, or trying to get close with her while they were unpacking things at the house. So clearly there is a discrepancy there. So Nathan wasn't happy about finding out that Issa and Lawrence are back together. And Nathan says to Issa, well, cool, well, I hope he keeps his shit together this time. And Issa clapped back. She said, at least he knows how to use his words and doesn't disappear. But little does she know. Who was right again? Guys, I want to hear it. Who was right again? Who was right? If you guys conversate with me, if you are in the discussions in the comment section, you would know I said repeatedly that Nathan is bipolar. Who guessed it? This girl. Okay, this girl. But yeah, they talked about his mental health briefly. I don't think it does justice to the whole community or people that have bipolar disorder in general. It was cute, I guess. Didn't really do much. But Issa was dumbfounded and she was like, oh my gosh, my bad. I didn't know. The only like cool little outcome that came from this experience is that Nathan said, going through this whole experience of finding out that I was bipolar and getting the help that I needed, I discovered the type of people that I want in my life, and Issa is one of those people. So I thought that was like, you know, a little cute. I was like, Nathan. But Nathan was mad cool in this. I think all the guys within the series are like just chill and cool dudes. Even though he basically got friend zoned by Issa, he didn't really care because he'd rather be friends with Issa than lose Issa. So props to him, and I appreciate that. There's gonna be a love triangle with Lawrence, Issa, and Nathan. Yes, Nathan got shut down in this episode, but I don't think he's ready to quit. I think he's gonna still pursue Issa, and this is where Issa's gonna be tested, whether or not she wants Lawrence, whether she wants to go back to the old with Lawrence, or whether she wants to live a new life and discover something new with Nathan. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting, and I hope that happens in the next episode. So before I close, also again, what shows are you guys watching? Because obviously this is coming to an end. I'm thinking about checking out the show I May Destroy You on HBO. Let me know if I should be doing any other reviews. I don't really know, but I do appreciate and I do like talking to you guys. And I'm thinking I want to make the last episode discussion really special. I don't know if I should do a live stream. I don't really know how to do one, but if that's something you guys are interested in, let me know too. Okay. Bye. Thanks.